in the remembrance of a great, great soul for a country. And you all should be able to see the red, white, blue flag is waving. I think you all can see. Let's see if we can. Sure, there you go. So you can see that red, white, and blue flag sitting there across the highway. Listen, let me start out by saying America is great. It is a great country. Now, as in having to be interfered with by a lot of white folks that have invaded my privacy and know that I've just got finished listening to Martin Luther King partway through Where Do We Go From Here, and I think it was 1967 recording. You will find that a lot of people that basically have had no resistance really from society and life has given them the secret society highlights that to get that right there. Guy walking his dog. To you all, it may seem normal, but here's the thing: this area right here pretty much is quite set off to the side area. The other day, I came through here and they had a police car sitting in the parking lot to the end of where this street comes to, and this street is Dickerson Street, and is, I guess, coincide with the 800. Yeah, I guess it would be the 800 block of Dickerson Street, and it actually runs to a dead end. This area been kind of redid, and they like this new sign says Switchyard Place. But because of Neighborhood Watch Organization, a new face, I would throw the KKK up in there also, because again, we know that there is no black folks that have the power to put together what has been put together by Neighborhood Watch. We as black people have come through a lot of stuff, and we have overcome, and not just by ourselves, but along with some white people that would have more likely been candidates for the civil rights war that took place, that ultimately allowed blacks to become free from slavery. There is good folks of all different skin complexion, different tones, native tones, and whatnot. But fighting for justice and equality for everybody can be a daunting, hard thing. Many folks would rather accept being right here, whereas it kind of looks like equality has taken place. But let's be realistic about it. Barack Obama is the only dark-complected president that we have ever seen. And I would be as bold to say, and probably will ever see, but I know that to quiet down noise, a lot of times white folks that believe that they are the big power, they feel that they would put a black man on a cereal box and let it quiet down a lot of folks. When you want to keep things kind of mediocre, you give folks a little bit of something, but we have been pacified to stay here, and we will stay here the rest of our life unless we actually desire to continue to strive for the whole overall picture. I come to tell somebody we ain't got to settle right here. The black person still seeks to be approved, and I don't care how much education you have. When you make it to a point, where is it that if you are not somewhat treated equally, that you can kick up some noise in law to rectify being discriminated against, then you'll get someplace enough to pacify you, because again, it's daunting, hard work to actually try to obtain the entire thing. And what's the entire thing? To be treated equally. Now, I know a lot of white folks that have that old slavery mentality in mind, probably listening at this video and saying, "Hey, what do they want? You know, what do he want?" You know, because you've never been oppressed. But a human being, I'm not talking about a monkey or a dog or a cat, because I don't know how a monkey or a dog or a cat would feel about being unequally treated, because I've never been a dog or a cat. Now, some of these folk that believe in evolution believe they came from some monkeys or gorillas or apes or however they want to see it. But if I understand it right, it wasn't a black man that came up with that theory. So you white jokers that's monkey, apes, or gorillas, you need to evolve into the fact of letting all folks that is rightfully fit to obtain positions and whatnot be able to obtain it. We have fought. You're gonna get quite a bit of distraction, because hunkies hate when black folks start to lift their head up and not have to keep their head down and feel like they need to be approved by a master's mindset that I'm allowed to be in a certain area. If y'all see I can. And though Martin Luther King them did a whole lot by boycotting, you ought to listen at that message, because when Martin Luther King, he had some folks that was thirsty, that was trying to obtain freedom, and throughout the years it has been done. Martin Luther King was killed, J.F. Kennedy, and so forth. People that was adamant in trying to seek equality, and the thing have been daunting. And we're with a generation now that has been dumbed down to pretty much just be pacified and stuff, whatever. But I want to say, rather than the boycotting, because at this age and stage and this, boy, they done fed so many God-spending people the pacifying movement, and folks feel like they got a piece of it. And shoot, it's too hard trying to get the whole pie. And if we mess around and try to get the whole pie, they liable to take. And I've heard folks say that they liable to take the little bit that they done gave us. So how about this? How about if we continue to shop at the stores that we know that are not equally fit, and they might put almost an equally setting for folks to stock the shelf. But what about the upper management, the office position? Because you know, a lot of the dark-skinned folks qualify for a whole lot of stuff we just been shut out of. And you know, to keep us kind of unequally fit, folks will use all type of educated words to make you feel inferior because of a study of scientific analogies. We know that if you oppress human beings, most likely a human being will begin to depreciate or fall back from an area that they feel that they don't fit into. So rather than trying to boycott businesses that just right out show you that they ain't equal, how about we still shop there, but just let it be known that we don't like how we're being treated, how things are being said. And you can do that by many different ways. You can use Google Maps, and you can go on Google Maps and leave a store or a business and let it be known through Google of how, you know what I'm saying, you feel that person, that business is treating folks. One of the biggest things about getting attention is when people feel like you just not gonna take it, you just not gonna be pacified, that you and we shouldn't even have to fight to be treated equally, but we do. Like I say, majority of businesses, the big businesses, the ratio blacks versus whites up in there would be something like 9 white folks working there and about 2 to 3 black folks working there. And this thing has been set up by design. If you actually talk to some racist joker, now I'm not talking about all white folk, but you talk to some racist joker, they will smile in your face, and you will, if you pay attention, you will see they really don't like you. But because we need that job, or because we think we need that job, or because we already are working at the job and we feel we need that income, we know people don't like us, and we just kind of go along with it because we have accepted in our mind this is the way the world works. And I come to tell you, the only reason why the world is working this way is because of the sweat and long suffering of many people that have came before us, that have fought for freedom. And they got us to this point. And unfortunately, a lot of us got to this point, and we're satisfied with the fact of just being able to get part of the pie. But we ought to be seeking to be able to obtain whatever position our skill set allow us to obtain. I mentioned the Obama thing, only black president ever. Now that's some qualified human beings that has just been shot down because of his skin color. I look at Dr. Willie Wilson out of Chicago, Illinois, because he don't seem as educated and just don't talk like, you know what I'm saying, like educated folks talk. But here's what I learned: a lot of times them educated jokers ain't worth a dime. We need some people in the seat, and this is why I love Donald Trump so much, because Donald Trump definitely seems like he's educated, but he also seems like he is just out of the box. You know, and that's what we need. We need some people that's going to speak the truth and stand for the truth rather than stand for what, commercialized, what looks good. He got this town, this attract certain people because they study that. Certain colors make people feel this type of way. The lighting, the area of the place, put them in, having to have a speech in a green area, the atmosphere and all that stuff there. But what about just talking about the real of the real? That has been pushed aside, and many folks will say, all the politicians are crooked, but that's a lie from the pit of hell, because not all of them are the same. Some of them is actually fighting for something. And it don't matter what skin color they are, as long as they are seeking for equalness to be a part of this United States of America. Now, I've mentioned neighborhood watching, and through neighborhood watching, contacting the FBI about being stalked and harassed, and have had irrefutable evidence of a Hammond, Indiana police officer that lied and said that he had made 13. They had made 13 arrests through a task force effort of information that I had given. And when I went, after I realized that this officer was part of neighborhood watching, was basically calling himself just kind of keeping me quiet, kept asking me, let's keep it between us. It's hacking going on, and this thing is pretty big, and blah, this thing, and that. So when I went to the Fed building in Chicago, Illinois, I was arrested from a false charge that came through the power of white folks against a black man. And I was charged with a DUI without any drugs or alcohol in my system. I went to the hospital, through the police, working for a company, ran over the hours. The company kind of pushed, and man, I couldn't drive no more, pulled off of the road where I could get. NWO had been following and trying to catch me up in some things, just doing what they do. And when I fell asleep, they figured, too, because I knew that they was harassing and stalking and had put things, watching me pretty heavy. So I, played again. You can make these phones listen in on stuff. You can make these cameras kick on and all type of stuff. You got the technology with. So at that time, that's what they were working with. So I, because I'm a human being, I know my rights. You ain't got the rights to be running around here stalking and harassing me. That's against the law. So I would pick back at them jokes. I play like And they figured when I got tired that day, and I really think they put something in my coffee that day when I went to go get some. But anyway, long story short, however it went, I couldn't drive no more. I pulled off the side of the road and went to sleep in the van. Wake up, police's. Everywhere. And you would tell this white cop lady that was involved with it, she had one thing in her mind. Neighborhood watch had told her that I was getting high. They couldn't find no drugs, no alcohol in my system or on my person, yet I still was charged with a DUI. Listen, I am the founders of Americans Against Injustices. How do you charge a person with a DUI and they got no drugs? And the thing about me having been driving 13 and a half hours and then tried to take another one was told about another trip going to St. Louis. That part they wasn't interested in. They wasn't trying to get at no company, and they was after me because I have been given neighborhood watching the complete HEL and happened for a long time. Now, at that time in my life, I was wrestling up and down with an addiction. But when I was driving over the road, I was doing my best to break free from the addiction. So I wasn't using anything. I didn't have anything in my system. So, long story short, when I ran into this to this Hammond, Indiana, at a different time after that charge, and I, fought that case with a public defender, and of course, the public defender did his best to run with it, and I don't even think NWA had got a hold to him, but we just didn't have the power and the that the state had, and they pushed that thing around, to put the pressure on me. And like at that time, I wasn't as strongly in Christ. Like I said, I was wrestling with the addiction when I was over the road. That was my sanctuary. Actually, don't have to be on the internet to take pictures, but my phone is hacked, so a picture wasn't able to be taken. It did something totally different, like they oftentimes have done in the past and done. But so with the going to the FBI down at the field agent in Chicago, Illinois. I think that's near, what is that, Western and Ashland or somewhere. There's only one field agency for the FBI in Chicago, Illinois. That's the one I went to. And because I had irrefutable evidence and in the line of what they supposed to do, because now you got a crooked official. So they pulled this magical one. Now, mind you, I had been at that place 2 times prior to that. And no warrant was found. Been in the police's faces several times, but when you ain't talking the proper language, that they can kind of keep running, giving you the runaround, I wasn't the problem. But after I came with these irrefutable things with this cop, well, they figured they'll put a little bit more fear. Now, because, like I said, at that time, I was completely on a whole different page. Wasn't wrestling with nothing. The NWA have tried to block me from breaking free from my addiction. Whereas that I try to go into rehab, they'll have their people, play like my insurance. They can't find my insurance. One time they said I ain't had nothing in my system. And then the particular time I think I came with that the next time, Big Mouth Grill, gave it away. Yeah, that's why I ain't let him in the first time. Yeah, didn't ever come up here and get fat for a couple of days to rest up and go back and do the same thing. Anyway, and so from that, I was put on, I guess, the do not disturb FBI list. Was that I called to do a follow-up, and the female went through. I remember it had to been about 6 years ago when they first put me on it, but when I called here sometime recently, I think it was since I've been at the Salvation Army down here at 711 East Indianapolis. Yeah, that when it clicked over, well, she took the call, and when it clicked over, it just hung up, and I think it said something to the something, but then it made me remember. But dang, so is that lawful? That they can just put you on a list, because I think one time I mentioned gang stalking, and white older lady that was talking to me on the phone from the FBI, she yeah, we don't investigate gang stalking, and hung up the phone. What type of professional business is that? If I'm saying the wrong thing, what I'm saying, talk to me, or even, what I'm saying, hear out my complete thing. You don't hang up the phone on nobody. You supposed to be the police, but I'm black, and I realized that, and you ought to realize that too. That if your child come up hurt because of your skin color, even where you might live, or where you might live in, you gonna be, what I'm saying, how can I say, you gonna be put in line, or treated. Your case gonna be handled in that order. Now, if you, what's that dude name? That son was using drugs and got arrested and got caught. Then a couple of months later got caught with a gun. Somebody know what I'm talking about, because he was white and with some power. I just said like that. I ain't gonna say no name. No, I'm saying his son ain't serving no time, and I ain't heard nothing else about it. But what did I say to do? Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, and with the stuff that I'm dealing with here, like I said, I was looking at that police car that tucked itself up in, and baby, because the white folks must say, yeah, he down there, it's a guy down there trying to steal the bridge, because I mean, ain't nothing there but a bridge and some grass and underpad over the expressway. But again, because when prejudiced, so-called powerful white folk say something, folks jump, move, even black folks that's what I'm saying, just trying to get along. We don't have to settle for anything less than starting in hard work to keep going forward. But I tell you what, man, it's better by standing for something right rather than just letting things be because they scared, or because, what I'm saying, they scared. And I understand. But I want to tell you, we need to get back to God, because it's God that gives us the strength, the power, and the mindset to be able to do it. And that's to the whites, black, the native tongues. If you love Jesus, it's time to say no to NWO. Y'all know what NWO is doing. Neighborhood watching. They done made you all completely without moral values. I'm the founders of Americans Against Injustices.